Hello, happiness seekers. Welcome to the Happiness Challenge podcast. I'm Klaudia and I'm on a mission to explore the best happiness habits that science has to offer. Like so many others, the pandemic cut me off from my family and work, so I decided to use my training as a psychologist to discover what science can tell us about the art of happiness. What I found set me on a path to joy, and now I'm ready to share my journey with you. Each month, I'm publishing 3 linked episodes where I'm speaking to a leading expert, putting their tips to the test, and sharing my findings and feelings. From mindfulness to exercise and random acts of kindness, I'll be shining a light on the simple happiness habits that can bring more joy to our lives. So join me as I embark on my challenge, and together we can become more successful, resilient, and happy. Hello, happiness seekers. My name is Klaudia, and you are listening to the Happiness Challenge, a show where I test drive the best happiness hacks science has on offer. So far, in the latest series of the Happiness Challenge, we had 28 episodes featuring 9 amazing guests, really great experts within their field. And I also counted and I have tested total of 36 different happiness hacks. I mean, that's just so much of different things to explore. So, in this episode, on the basis of that wealth of information, I'm going to talk you through 10 practical ideas for action to boost your happiness. And this action will be paired up with some reflective questions so you can reflect and then you can implement a simple hack to create more happiness. Let's begin. Number 1 is about shifting your mood. So, this is based on the findings that any strong emotion causing physiological reaction in your body lasts approximately 90 seconds in their original intensity. That is why taking breath is so effective because it allows you to pause, pay attention to your experience, and let the emotions pass. And this creates a space between your emotions and the next action you're going to take. And my guest, Dr. Sean Sullivan, clinical psychologist, in episode 66, explained that shift therapy takes you one step farther. Once you have mindfully created that pause, shifting encourages you to imagine emotions that you want to feel instead. And this act of choosing and visualizing your next emotion shifts your mood towards the desirable state of mind. So the question to reflect here is, how are you starting your day? That is, within a minute of waking up, what are your first actions? You're opening your eyes and then you do what? Maybe you check your phone, maybe you rush out of bed, maybe you snooze the alarm, maybe you go back to sleep. Whatever it is, your first idea for action is to start your date with shift therapy. That means that in the first 2 minutes of waking up, you simply pause to visualize how you wish to feel that day. Energized, motivated, calm, joyful, whatever it is. You choose, but you spend first 2 minutes of waking up with shift therapy. Number 2 is about feeling confident more often. So, my guest, Ashley Freighter, is a confidence coach who, in episode 69, highlighted that confidence is not a fixed attribute, but rather a feeling we have, which we then translate into our actions and behaviors. And that feeling is subjective for us and one that can be fueled with the right sources. So, the question to reflect on is, when do you want to feel more confident? In what specific situations do you wish to feel more confident? And once you have identified that situation, idea for action here is to switch to power posing. So, social psychologist Amy Cuddy says that directing your attention to your body posture can boost your confidence instantly. And her research shows that if we mimic powerful poses such as standing tall, having hands on our hips, we are more likely to experience a sense of empowerment. So, idea for action for you here is that when you need that positive boost, when you want to feel more confident in those specific situations, focus on your posture for a split second and make sure to change it to a more confident and powerful one. Number 3, in terms of idea for action, is about relaxing and unwinding with sound healing. Supriya Nagarajan is a singer, composer, and a musician who, in episode 73, encourages us to create soundscapes, moments during which we shut down other senses and let our brain concentrate on relaxing sounds. And this is very important because sounds with its vibration interacts with brain waves to trigger many biological responses in our body, including the activation of parasympathetic nervous system responsible for relaxation and healing. So first of all, I encourage you to reflect on what sounds do you find the most relaxing? Nature sounds, gong sounds, any specific instruments that the sounds of them you find really relaxing and unwinding. And once you've done that, create a playlist of your favorite healing sounds for your soundscapes so that you can listen to those when you need a moment of peace and quiet. Okay, so number 4, let's kickstart your feel good chemicals to feel more joyful. So, this topic is based on the idea that yes, we all have days when we feel blah and not up for it. My guest, Tanif Kare, in episode 76, advocates that anhedonia, this feeling of not feeling joyful and feeling blah, is the missing word in mental health because we talk about happiness at one end and we talk about depression at the other end. But in daily grind of life, a lot of us are often in that gray space in between. So your reflective question here is, what are the activities that make you feel joyful? And are they part of your weekly schedule to really boost your feel good chemicals? But whatever on the list, the idea for action here for you is to expand your list by starting a day with a cold shower. I know it doesn't sound pleasant, especially if it's quite gloomy outside, but the research confirms that our body compensates for the experience of the cold water by upregulating the level of feel good chemicals, including dopamine. And some studies show an increase of dopamine concentration by 250% as a result of being in a cold water. And really, if you want to learn more about this topic, because I really think it's a fascinating one, the great resource you can refer to is Tanif's book, Feeling Blah, which at the moment is the only comprehensive science based guide to anhedonia that has been really published up to date. So check that out. Okay, let's crack on with number 5, which was inspired by Ben Goldsmith, financier and environmentalist, who in the episode 80 shares his grief journey after losing his daughter and very much shares how nature helped him to find strength, comfort, and solace. The benefits of spending more time in nature are endless when we look at the research, from production of our immune cells increasing in the forests to mental fatigue being reduced by looking at nature, really endless number of benefits. So your reflective question here is, how much time do you spend in nature, and are you fully present when you're doing that? Because I think sometimes we don't even notice, especially if you live in the city, how we don't see nature regularly. But if you live and you are surrounded by nature, sometimes we might be having a tendency to treat it as that backdrop, something around us, but we're not truly paying attention to it. So the idea for action is to plan a trip into a wild. Choose a new green space which you haven't visited yet, park, forest, beach, mountain, lake, pond, whatever it is, and visit it mindfully. That means when you're there, notice the colors, the sounds, the smells, be truly present and truly connect with nature. Now, it's always very difficult not to pick a favorite when it comes to podcast topics, but I think practicing curiosity was especially close to my heart mainly because, well, I've been doing my profession for many, many years. And again, igniting that curiosity daily is quite important to me. So, number 6, it's all about staying curious. My podcast guest, the founder of the Global Curiosity Institute, Stefan van Hooijdonk, in episode 108, stressed that curiosity is actually not a skill, but rather our willingness to engage in new, unfamiliar, complex topics or activities. And Stefan described how 3 different dimensions of curiosity, reflective, cognitive, and empathic, how they are actually linked to the increased level of happiness, that job engagement, and productivity. I love that episode because also as part of it, I was able to go and complete a scientific questionnaire to see how low or high I score on different dimensions of curiosity. If you are up for doing that, head to the Global Curiosity Institute website. You can do it for free. But in meantime, I really encourage you to reflect on what are you most curious about? Are there any topics or new skills you are particularly curious about? I then encourage you to have a curiosity conversation with someone who might know a lot about those topics or skills, or with someone who you've seen demonstrating a particular skill you are very much curious about. Okay, we are at number 7, which is all about improving our sleep. So, did you know that we spend a third of our life sleeping? I think that's absolutely amazing to know. And I think if we're doing that, then, well, let's make every hour of sleep count by optimizing our rest. So, Sophie Bostock is the founder of the Sleep Scientist, and she shares in episode 111 that the most powerful way to improve our sleep quality is to be consistent with our sleep routine. And that means going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even at weekends. And this sounds really simple and is often missed. And unfortunately, having varied times of going to bed and waking up means that unfortunately our internal body clocks are not synchronized. So this is simple, yet we miss it quite often. So your reflective question is, how consistent are you with your sleep? Do you follow the same routine on weekends and weekdays? And I really encourage you to track that. So have a bit of reflection and think what you think is the truth. But then, as an idea for action, think about tracking when are you waking up and what time you're going to bed to see how much consistency do you have. And if you are up for diving deeper into your sleep quality, you could also listen to episode 113, where I introduced a SATED scale of assessing sleep quality. We are at number 8 when it comes to actions of boosting our happiness on the basis of the latest series of the Happiness Challenge. And number 8 is all about reflecting on the connection between money and happiness. Here, my podcast guest, Peter Komolafe, is a financial coach, speaker, and author of the Money Basics. And in episode 114, he stressed that sadly, in today's digital age, social media often exaggerates our tendency to compare our lives and financial status with others. But Peter, of course, tells us to do opposite. He very much encourages us to learn to detach ourselves from those comparisons and really focus on our journey by starting to truly understand how does money help you create the world, the life, and the freedom you want. So that's your great question to reflect on. And this approach of understanding that is linked with a very interesting piece of research, which shows that the way we spend money impacts our happiness. So, using money to buy experiences rather than things, helping others and deepening your relationships, saving your time by hiring others to do things you don't like, and generally spending money on things that are important to you will add significantly to your happiness. So, the idea for action here is to not only track your spending, but track how much happiness certain spendings bring you. To very much see that link between money and happiness when it comes to our spending habits. And if you are up for learning about money scripts, which are unconscious beliefs we have about money that drive our behavior, you can listen to episode 116. Really interesting concept of money scripts and their impact on our behavior. Number 9, so we are almost there, is about improving our gut health. So, nutritional therapist Dana Chapman in episode 117 speaks about how bacteria in our gut are responsible for producing happy hormones. So, if we have an inflammation in our gut, we can have also low mood and anxiety. Dana specifically says that good mental health comes from having lots of different families of bacteria within the gut. And that's why the diverse diet is crucial to our happiness. So, your question to reflect on is, how diverse is your diet? How many different types of plant based food do you eat a week? Dana says that for a healthy gut microbiome, we should eat at least 30 different plant based foods. So, your idea for action is, why don't you keep a track to see if you can hit that target? This one is very much fun to do. I've done that. And just remember that if you eat carrots, let's say, I don't know, every day or every second day, or you have cooked something that you're heating up for a few days, that will count as one entry, because that specific vegetable or combination of plant foods will feed certain type of bacteria in your gut. So what we are aiming for is diversity of your diet. Okay, we have finally arrived at number 10 in terms of actions that can boost your happiness, and that's all about neurobics. Neurobics are brain exercises designed to stimulate and challenge the brain, creating new neural connections and keeping our brain fit, healthy, and happy. So ask yourself, how often do you give your brain a challenge to solve or something out of ordinary to do? So this is very interesting to know that if we are always operating on an autopilot, our brain doesn't get challenged. It doesn't get a chance to build new connections. So idea for action for you is this week, have a think, how could you interrupt your routine with something different? It could be something simple as brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. It's actually very difficult, to something broader like having a go at a new recipe or learning a new skill. Generally, that neurobics can give your brain a workout your brain really deserves, and they are very important for keeping our brain fit. So here we are, 10 questions and 10 ideas for actions you can implement to boost your happiness, all very much introduced by an expert within that topic throughout the latest series of the Happiness Challenge. And of course, tested by me in my daily life with lots of different adventures. So just as a recap, your 10 ideas for actions were: number 1, start a date with shift therapy. 2, use power posing to feel more confident. 3, create your soundscape to rest, recover, and unwind. 4, have a cold shower to kickstart your feel good chemicals. 5, plan a nature trip into a wild. 6, have a curiosity conversation to learn about a new skill or a topic. 7, introduce consistency into your sleep routine. 8, reflect on your spending habits and their impact on your happiness. 9, aim to eat 30 plant based foods a week. And 10, try something out of ordinary to give your brain a workout. So I really hope that you have found these questions and actions useful, helpful. I know that there is quite a lot of information in this episode that I've just chucked at you quite quickly. So look out for my next newsletter where I will summarize all the information presented today. So thank you so much for listening. I see you in the next episode. And as always, I dare you to be happy. Bye.